Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to cover geography. It's a Form 1 paper, specifically for end of term 2. Yeah, but can be used for revision even in the upper classes or forms. So let's get started. Okay, so from number 1, the first question asks, name 2 branches of geography. So they're asking for 2 branches of geography, but generally we have 3 branches, namely, so we have physical geography, we have practical geography, and we have human geography. So those are the 3 main branches of geography: physical, human, and practical geography. For the next question, they are asking what is the relationship between geography and mathematics? So now regarding the relationship, so geography greatly depends on mathematics. How? Especially in expressing of concepts. So you can say that geography concepts are interpreted using mathematical techniques. Yeah, so concepts are usually interpreted using mathematical techniques, such as we can talk of maybe when you want to calculate this, like in terms of weather. Maybe you want to calculate the mean rainfall average. You use techniques like such as mean, mode, and all that. Those are mathematical techniques. Now, regarding the next relationship is that geography uses mathematics in interpretation of maps. Yeah, so that's something else about mathematics. Yeah, what do I mean by this? This such as bearing, navigation, like bearing, will use mathematics. So that's basically some of the 2 relationships of geography and mathematics. Now we'll go on to the next part of the paper. Yeah. So here we are. The question asks, the diagram below represents the internal structure of the Earth. Use it to answer questions A. And now, as you can see, this is the structure of the Earth, the internal structure of the Earth. And here we have the cluster, the core here. And this is Gutenberg discontinuity. So basically, when you come from the inside, from the core, you come to the mantle, then from the mantle to the crust, which means that the part labeled V now will be the mantle. But now before you proceed on to the crust from mantle, we have another layer of discontinuity. And this layer, we call it the Mohorovičić discontinuity. So even the question asks, name the parts marked U and V. So can basically say here that U is basically Mohorovičić discontinuity. And now for V, we have a mantle layer is the mantle layer. Mantle layer. Yeah, so now let's proceed on to the next part of the paper. So the question asks, describe the composition of the crust. So the crust, you've seen that is the outermost layer of the Earth. So we are being asked to describe the composition. Now regarding the composition, we'll talk of the crust first of all. The first point, you can obviously state the easiest point. Uh, so here, crust, the first point is the outermost layer of the Earth. And there you have your mark. The next point is that crust is composed of Sima and Cial. That's been Sima and Cial being the continental crust and the oceanic crust. So Cial is the continental, Sima is the oceanic crust. Now the other point, you can say that it is mainly composed of silicate, materials, mainly composed of silicate materials. And sometimes you can also add also as granite and basalt. Composed of silicate materials as granite and basalt. And now concerning the Sima and the Cial, now you can break them down. We say that Sima has silica and magnesium, while Cial has silica and aluminium. That's another point. So there you are. Simple as that. You have your 4 points. Now let's go to the next part of the core. You're also asked to give 4 characteristics of the core. So simple, just as we said, now you start with is the innermost. The innermost layer of the Earth. That's usually the first point. Where do you find that layer? The innermost layer of the Earth. And then the next point, just as we talked about here, talk about its division. Divided into inner, and outer core. That's the next point. Divided into inner and outer core. Yeah. Then regarding the third point, we are talking about the core. So you can see that the inner core is solid, whereas outer core is liquid. That's also another point. Inner core is solid, whereas outer core is liquid. Then you can also see that the core influences gravitational force due to movement of materials. Due to movement of materials on outer core. So that's basically about it. We have given 4 characteristics of the core cell. And now for the next part of the question, we are being asked to describe the solar system. So now if you want a very simple description of the solar system, you can always use this one that will always give you 2 marks. You can say it's a system. It's a system comprising of It's a system comprising of the sun and the 8 planets. You can also add and say and other celestial bodies. Another celestial bodies. But even if you stop at the 8 planets, you are good to go. Then, okay, if you want to go further, you can add an explanation and say that the planets revolve around the sun. The planets revolve around the sun in an elliptical or in elliptical circuits. Yeah. Now we move on to the next part of the paper. For the next part of the paper, we are being told that the local time at Manyo 60 degrees west is 11:30 a.m. What is the time is in Nairobi? That's 7 degrees east. So for this one, take note of the time and the degrees because the first time the reference point we are being told it's at 60 degrees west, whose time is 11:30 a.m. and time in Nairobi is that 7 degrees east. Now remember, whenever you move from west to east, you usually add the time. There's usually a difference of time between the longitudes. So whenever you move from from west to east, you'll have you'll get an increase in time. Now, if you want to calculate the time in Nairobi, that's 7 degrees east. We'll talk of how many degrees do you have in between? We have 60 degrees. 60 degrees, you add 30 degrees, 37 degrees, which will give you 97 degrees. So will give you 97 degrees. So from here, the 97 degrees you have here, yeah, now you have to convert it to time. You know how much time does it account for. Now 1 degree is usually equal to 4 minutes. What about 97 degrees? So you take 97 degrees, multiply by 4 minutes. 97 degrees, you multiply by 4 minutes. What will you get? Let's see. So you have 97 degrees multiplied by 4 minutes. You get roughly 388 degrees, 388 minutes. Now you have to convert this to hours and minutes. So what you have to do is to divide by 60. You have to divide this by 60, which will give you now, divide by 60, it will give you 6 hours. 6 hours. So rather 6.46 hours. So you have to add these 6 hours to 11:30. 11:30. You add, so you add the 6 hours. 6 hours and 28 minutes. Which will give you probably around, that will give you to, let's see. So 388 divided by 60. 6 hours, 6.46. 6 hours, 28 minutes. If you add this, will give you to, let's see. 13, to give you around to 558 p.m. So that's the time at Nairobi, that's 7 degrees east. Now we move on to the next question. This other question asked, give 5 proofs that the earth is spherical. 5 proofs that the earth is spherical. So let me start typing from here. So that the earth is spherical. First of all, the earth is, give 5 proofs that the earth is spherical. We have one of them is that circumnavigation. Circumnavigation. Now you get that if you move in a straight line from one point in the earth to, you move in a straight line, you'll get that after you go around the earth, you'll come back to the same point, meaning that the earth is spherical. The next point to prove that the earth is spherical is an approaching ship. An approaching ship at the sea. Why? Because you usually see the mast first, then the front of the ship, then finally the body of the ship. The next evidence is during lunar eclipse. During lunar eclipse, a round shaped round shaped shadow of the other. The earth, round shaped shadow of the earth is displayed. It's displayed on the moon. So that's the first, or the third evidence. Now we go to the fourth evidence about the earth being spherical. Now you find that the sun usually rises from the east. So places in the east usually receive the sun first. Places in the east receive sun first. Receive sun earlier than those in the west. Than those in the west. Yeah. Now proceeding on to the next part. No, they feel that you have another evidence for the earth being spherical. Now, images taken from space. From space, huh? Proof earth is spherical. So, those are 5 of the evidences to prove that the earth is spherical. Now we move on to the next part of the paper. Now we have been asked of 2 effects of rotation of the other. 2 effects of rotation of the other. So for the first effect of rotation of the earth, you can talk about the rotation of the earth causes day and night. That's the first effect. Causes day and night. Such that as the earth rotates, some places will receive light, then you continue to the other places. So some places in the darkness, others will be in the light, causing day and night. The second effect of rotation of the other, you can talk of it causes ocean tides. Causes ocean tides. Why? This is usually because of gravitational effect of the moon. Now we go to the next part. You can talk of define the term weather. Define the term weather. What is weather? So weather is defined as the atmospheric condition. Atmospheric condition of a place at a given time. Is the atmospheric conditions of a place at a given time. That is what we call as weather. Now moving on to the next part. Explain how the following factors influence weather. How do the following factors influence weather? We start with cloud cover. There are several ways in which cloud cover influence weather. First of all, it influences precipitation. Precipitation is basically all forms of through which the earth receives water. So you can talk of dew, rainfall, all of that. So cloud cover usually influences precipitation. Precipitation. The next part is that cloud cover traps sunlight from the sun during the day, lowering temperatures. It traps sunlight from sun during the day, lowering temperatures. Now, for the third effect is that it will trap heat from the earth during the night. Heat from earth at night, causing warmth. So that's another effect of cloud cover in influencing weather. The next part it influences what? It can talk of it influences the amount of radiation reaching the earth. It influences the amount of sun radiation reaching the earth. That's the further point. Yeah, so basically that's about it on factors influencing weather and focusing on cloud cover. So we are going to move to the next part of the paper. Now regarding the next part of the paper, we have been asked about how local winds now influence weather. Local winds, how does local winds influence weather? Local winds also influence weather in several ways. Amongst them include these ways. Local winds, or local winds, yeah, you can say now local winds, for the local winds, remember winds are the one that carry sea breeze and land breezes. So they carry moisture from and to the sea, moisture, carries moisture and from into the sea causing land and sea breezes. So that's about the local winds. Another way it can affect the weather, you can talk of the cause microclimates. Microclimates, you find that some places are highly influenced by whirlwinds, but those whirlwinds, they only act in several places. So a microclimate is generally a climate that is being experienced in a small, not a vast area, just a small area. So that's what we refer as a microclimate. Then another point about the local winds influencing weather, they cause relief rainfall in the mountains. That's another point on how local winds influence weather. They cause relief rainfall in the mountains. Another one is that they can cause pollution. Can cause weather pollution. Why? Because when they carry waste materials. And they carry waste materials that cause weather pollution. That's another point on local winds. Now, the next part of the question, the diagram below represents how the measuring instrument uses to answer the following question. So as you can see, this is basically a rain gauge. It's basically a rain gauge. I have been asked to use it to answer the questions. Now let's see the questions been asked. So which element of the weather is measured using the instrument above. So which element do we measure using a rain gauge? So basically, it's very simple. We measure cutoff of rainfall. We measure rainfall. So okay, at times we may talk of precipitation, but basically you measure rainfall using a rain gauge. Now, how does the instrument above being is? How do you use the instrument above? So the instrument basically is dug into the ground. It's dug into the ground and collects water. Then water is then emptied into measuring cylinders, and quantities measured and amount measured. What is then emptied into measured and amount measured? Then what we talk about next? This then is used to calculate this data. This then is to calculate. This data is then used to calculate rainfall received in an area. And then finally we can talk of the data is recorded. Data is recorded for bookkeeping. Sorry. Or for future uses, just say for future uses. So that's about it, about how the instrument is used. Yeah, so now, so let's do the last part of the paper. We will not do the entire paper, the next paper and then we will continue the next video. But let's do this last part. So the question asked, the table below shows the temperature and rainfall readings for station T in 1 week. Use it to answer question C. So now you're supposed to calculate the temperature range for the week and the mean weekly rainfall. So for the temperature range, you'll take the highest temperature minus the lowest temperature. So the highest temperature in this case, it was experienced on Saturday and Friday, which is 25. You have to minus the lowest temperature, which is experienced on that day, which is 21, which give you a range of 4. Then the mean weekly rainfall, you have to add all of this, 23 plus 23 plus, sorry, it's the rainfall, so you have to add the lower values here, 50 plus 49, so 50 plus 49 plus 49 plus 45 plus 60 plus 60 again, then plus 49 again. So this will give you a total of, let's see, 50 plus 49 plus 49 plus 45, plus 60 plus 60 plus 49 gives you 362. So from this 362, you have to divide it by the number of days in that week, which are 7, and gives you 51.7. So 362. Then you proceed by dividing this 62 by 7, gives you 51.7. 51.7. And that's about it. So thank you guys for concentrating till the end. Please remember to subscribe, share, and comment in the video. And see you next time. Have a good day.